Okay, so Baruch Hashem, we're coming back to this Torah Lamed Hey in the Moharan, and Baruch Hashem, we're going to look at this last shtickle here together in the English edition, not together, of Breslov or Moharan, because we were having a little bit of a challenge with the Eishes Chayil Avoda. We came out very good. We gave a good drosha about, the concept of the Zman we're in, the end of year, Elul is the sixth Chodesh, like the sixth day, and then the Or of Shabbos is already coming down on the Erev Shabbos. This idea of, but Rabbi Nachman says something different. He's talking about this concept that we've been going back and forth on, focusing on the new intellect that comes from the light of the face. So this idea that this part I didn't understand. Amarti Hachma Vihi Rechoka. It says apparently in Kehelis, I will be wise, but it was far from me. It was far from me, this concept of renewal of intellect. Let's see what he says underneath, because I didn't really understand it. He says, Rabbi Nachman brings this proof text of Eishes Chayil to show, and also then Kehelis, that business activities to enable a person to rest his mentalities. Mentalities, we said, was consciousness, or we had a few translations, mindset, and then draw a new chokhmah from the or upon him. So apparently you're able to draw a new wisdom from the light of the face. Look, there is a concept why the Chassidim look at a tzaddik. What's pshat? So apparently just by looking at the ponim of a tzaddik, you're zocher to or, you're zocher to misagim, to Torah. It's such a concept. I feel like I've been zocher not by looking at tzaddikim. I see my Zilberg. I put him on the cover picture the other day. His face Mama shines. I mean, he's made his light much more hidden. My Rebbe as well told the Rebbe certain times a year you get to see where the light comes out, like Hanukkah or Simchas Torah after Musaf and Yom Tov. See a certain awe coming out of these tzaddikim, and you can draw out new understandings just by looking at them. It's the concept of the Baal Shem Tov and the Chassidim of the Chassidish Shetish was to look at the tzaddik and look at the ponim while he's eating and while he's saying Torah and this idea. So. What Rabbi Nachman himself has a whole Torah in a Ketubah and somewhere else, which says there's three levels. There's learning his Torah, which is what we're doing now. There's hearing the Torah from his mouth, and then there's looking at his panemius, like looking at his ponim. And each level is like a higher way of connecting to the tzaddik. And we should be zocher. We don't. For example, Rabbi Nachman is not here, not alive. In this world, but we have the concept of people going there, Uman, Rosh Hashana, connecting to the tzaddik. People feel it's kashrus to the tzaddik being by his kever, and they feel it's kashrus by being by his talmidim, because that's the way we sort of connect to him through the Messiah. And that's the same thing, I suppose, now with the Babich Rebbe, and you go to the oil, you go to the place where 770, you go to where his talmidim are, and same with all the different paths. The concept is connecting into the ponim, the all ponim. Maybe hopefully we have a little bit of that. That's
or not, which is what sometimes they see that also. That's what when they look on your face.
Yeah.
And they can tell where you've been.
Yeah, and that's a scary thought. There was one.
That right? Is there a concept?
No, there is a concept. There was one tzaddik who used to come into his base midrash, and all the talmidim would hide their faces because he'd see their machshavas, he'd see all their. I definitely, when I'm standing in front of a tzaddik, suddenly the weirdest thoughts come to my head, and like all the worst things that I've done, like in this Tekufa since I last saw him, like suddenly come to mind, and I feel like he's seeing it all. I always get that certain busha when you come in front of a righteous person, but it's very healthy. Cleanse yourself. There's also, I don't know, each person has to work it out himself, but one of the feelings I get a certain Indian of Yesod when I'm around the tzaddik, like a certain Indian of Kedusha and Tahara that affects me, like I can actually feel it, and which is a good thing, because they're like there's a lot of awe, it's hard to explain these things. But you see Rabbi Nachman was talking about it here, the idea of that you get new mindset, new mentalities, new consciousness from the awe upon him, from the light of the face. Yes, it's a deep concept. Let's see how he explains it to the way to perceive Chokhmah, which is far away, by virtue of its loftiness. So there we go. Why is Chokhmah Rechoka? Because it's elevated. This is the last shtickle here. He says this pasuk here. He says it's Seichel the Or Ponim Ki Haseiku v'yikra rachok. It's far, it's distant. Yeah, that's the Indian of rachok, based on Kehelis, and that's because it's an elevated way of thinking. It's coming from a high place, Chachma, and it's through Malchus, the faith, the Emuna, the sleep, which we've been learning about, studying Torah in the Pshat level, and engaging honestly in business, all the things we've been learning about. That's how we tap into this ore. The verse that translates in our text is she is like merchant fleet by engaging in business activities, monetary law. The plain meaning of the Torah, she brings food from afar. One acquires that which is known as far away, namely Chochmah. So this concept of bringing food from afar, the merchant, that's the Neishas Chal, yeah? She's bringing it from afar. What's the pasuk in Neishas Chal? Say it every week. It begins, she's bringing the food from afar, that's his Chochmah. It's coming from a high elevated place. We think of it like she's bringing like sustenance because you have to go out and work hard in a far off place to bring back the shefa. Yeah. Here it's saying no, it's a panemius concept of chachma, of the ore that comes down through.
Use that.
Yeah, I'll use this one. Sure. Okay, let's get back to the chachma. Okay, now we're going to go weiter. So I think that was a good summary. Thanks to Bresa.org. Aval, k'she'adam machnis sichlo hainin shmaso. And this is now we're moving to Sif Zion. We were in Sif Vav. Now I think we can go ahead. But that a person, he enters into his intellect, hainu nishmaso, and this is through the soul. B'tach Emuna. This goes through Emuna. Hainu pshat araisa. And this is the simple understanding of Torah. Hainu masa matan. And this is to do with doing business, yeah. B'chinas chadashim nebrachim. We've said this before. This idea of renewal in the mornings. As I sarach lishmo Emuna. And a person needs to protect his emunah. And he has to make sure that the chitzonim, the external forces, don't nurture from his emunah, which is this is deep concept.
Well, it's like if you're renewing yourself every morning, we always think of that only as like a good way. Oh, you're getting a fresh mochin and fresh das and fresh light, but you're also getting fresh klipot and fresh. I mean, those guys are coming at you too.
Yeah,
Those
we're
challenges.
Right. That's usually the thing that it's funny because when I was with Tzaddikim, I felt like by Tzaddikim or by Rabbi Nachman, I felt like the Mohammed intensified. That's one of the questions I had to Rabbanim. Like, why is it always like when you get closer, you also get the other side comes. Makes a real ruckus. The Gabayim or however it manifests. Yeah. You want to get to the tzaddik, and suddenly the Yetzer Hara is there. Like the rows are surrounded by all these swans, and you got to like sort of be strong at that moment and keep focusing on why you're going to the tzaddik, why you're connecting into this Indian of Emuna. Because remember, tzaddik v'emunuscha yichya. So the Indian of tzaddik and Emuna is very much one. Through the tzaddik you live, like through Emuna with Emuna. Like there's a certain, you can't separate the concept of tzaddik and Emuna and life. They come together. Especially when you're learning Rabbi Nachman, but it's based on a pasuk, and we bring it down as the whole world stands on one pillar of Emuna, Tzaddik B'Emunah Yichya. That's the pasuk, and it's from Habakkuk. So the idea is that we're tuning into this concept of Emuna, this one pillar that's holding up the whole world now. And what's happening? We have to protect that Emuna. Why? Because we don't want these external forces to nurture from that. Kihu shchonis b'toch chitzonim. That he starts to dwell amongst those external forces. B'china zos Yushalayim samtir b'toch hagoyim sivosei artzos. So this is Yushalayim that was placed in amongst the nations, and all the lands are surrounding it.
And all these, I guess, all these other wisdoms that are constantly attacking it.
That's
this
true.
is what we're learning this morning. We're learning
true.
in Likutei Halachot how Rav Nachman goes off basically on philosophy and other wisdom.
He's against it.
Very much against
very
it.
Protecting.
Very much against it.
I think more than any other tzaddik. I think.
Really
like he has even an issa not to learn Evanet in the parish in the Chumash. Yeah, which what's the parish? No, I forgot. Evan Ezra.
Yeah.
And that's a parish in every Chumash, Mikra Kedolis.
Right.
And yet he didn't want people to learn it.
Rambam also, he wasn't.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like in his time and generation, and I guess he's speaking to us now also.
Oh, definitely.
Obviously.
More so.
We have this draw. He says it comes from Adam Adam Arishon,
Sure.
of like trying to basically figure out either Hashem's ways or ultimately so we can be our own kind of gods.
Yeah,
And,
Chas Hashem.
and Hashem told the Toz to don't eat from the tree.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Why not eat from the tree? And start asking questions, and so just follow. And so Yerushalayim, which with our ancient ways and Torah, which is like supposed to be antiquated, the Old Testament, the old way, is being bombarded from the outside with no, you got humanism and you have to come in and there's new ways and there's new light and there's new philosophies and all of that. And so that's why.
Yeah, there are some Breslovs who are very open-minded. Like you see, like Joey Roosevelt's bringing therapy and Gedalia and bringing the recovery world, and there's a lot of Breslovs bringing different tools. But the bottom line is you've got to protect the Emuna. That's the Kodesh Kodesh.
Bring Breslov to the therapy.
Probably, it's the other way around.
Definitely.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
Definitely, he was working. Before he moved here, he was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
He was working with the most down and out, homeless,
Wow.
the worst neighborhood in the worst place imaginable.
Oh.
And he was using the therapy techniques of a 18th century psychologist named Nachman.
Wow, Nachman.
And that's how he
Rabbi
presented to
Nachman.
him, and apparently he had great success.
A great professor.
Yeah.
There's these homeless black guys are walking around quoting Rabbi Nachman.
I always say,
There's no such thing as despair.
Rav Brody always tells me that the number one selling book in the Alabama State Prison is Garden of Emuna.
Sure. He still says that now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a year after year. Well, yeah, but even now, yes.
Even now.
Yes, no, because the idea is there's walls around you. Look up.
Well, I mean, that whole story was a proof. Like around the Sadek, there's such nationalists because it's hard to keep everyone together. Like even you go to Uman and you're standing in the klois in this holy place on the holiest day, and there's a whole balagan going on upstairs with I won't say who they are, but there's a whole balagan going on. And you're trying to just dive, you've seen it, yeah? And you're just trying to daven into Hashem with all the other Breslovers, but there's a whole chevra making a balagan at the same davening, and it's a holy time. It's like, what's going on? And it's because that's where around the Sadek is going to be a balagan. There's going to be all the thorns and all the division, God forbid, and you have to somehow get through that Nisoyan and get to the Emuna. You have to protect the Emuna.
It's beautiful, though.
It's beautiful.
It really does come together. Beautiful.
Yeah, it works out. It always works out. Yeah, the davening goes ahead beautifully, but it's still in the soil initially. When you're looking for actors and you're seeing, God forbid, the opposite, it can be a little bit painful.
Maybe looking for actors is painful.
Yeah.
It's always,
I went to the Eitan Katz concert on Motzi Shabbos.
Oh, nice.
And was at the Great Synagogue. And, there's 1,000 at least yeshiva kids plus seminary girls.
Wow.
Like, full of just passion and vigor, and nobody knows how to get these guys going like him.
Sure.
No one.
Yeah, he's great
and
for
they're
the
rocking.
shiva.
I thought the whole roof was going to, bust out. And they're rocking and rolling, and he's into it. And they're dancing up a storm, crying. They really were davening. It was very impressive. And in the middle, electricity goes out, sound's gone, it's just emergency light on.
Wow.
It's kind of almost dangerous. So he goes, shh, everyone quiet down. He goes, listen to me. And he says this, whenever there's all this unity and dancing and achdus and
the other
that's
side
happening, so and this is what happens, and happens all the time, and so we're going to take this time, and we're going to make a Kabbalah on ourselves to be better, and he says,
it's time to do tshuva.
Now it's time to do tshuva.
That happens.
Yeah, he called that.
So that's the Nakuda. You did tshuva, and the fact there's soin going on, and we have to guard this Emuna, kriya ne'emana, b'chinas laila. When is the Emuna most strong? In the hardest time, in the night.
Yeah.
That's when it's really, you have your Emuna is in the night. Pashto Raisa, this is when you're trying to clarify the learning. And this is the whole Nakuda of being able to bring out in the darkness, in the night, with the moon itself is made small. It's a small light, and that's when it's given the authority, and we have to bring out the Emuna in that time. That's
when you need the Emuna. Meaning, when there's a tunnel light and Hashem's obviously around, you don't need as much Emuna. It's easier.
Rev Biederman said that he brought beautiful concepts of this Emuna idea of the darkness and the light, but it has to be that way. Like it has to come together in the dark, and that's where the Tchocha last week was painful. But comes out tremendous awakening for Yom Tov, hopefully. Same in the Savim, it's a parsha of Achdus, it's a parsha of unity. This week's parsha, Sam V'Yelech, Moshe Rabbeinu passing away, but really there's a tremendous opportunity for actors and unity and Emuna and getting ready Omar Shemayim for Rosh Hashana. There's a lot of chesed and ava in these pashas. We have to take it with us and bring out the light. For Rosh Hashana, it's an opportunity for us to mechazik and Emuna and the Sadek, Emuna in ourselves, Emuna in the light of the Ponim to strengthen new understandings. And there's Hashem.
Chaim, Shakar.
Simon Tova.
Yosef, what happened?